Hi guys, hi everybody, welcome to Cat Tarot, welcome to my channel. My name is Kat. So let me start first of all with very short housekeeping. I'm on vacay from the 1st to the 7th, so upon my return I will address the readings in order, which will be first urgent, then rush, then regular. And I expect that you're still going to get within the time that you have ordered. So be careful with ordering basically urgent during that week. Also, I won't be able to be contacted, so all of the messages will be returned on the 8th. So guys, also don't forget to join social media, and also remember that I have live on Saturdays. It's 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. During the summer months, it's going to be bi-weekly, so every 2 weeks is going to be live. Also, if you're part of my mailing list, which you can go on my website to kind of sign yourself on, then you can get some notification as well. So lastly, guys, if you're new here, welcome. And if there is anything that really resonates with you, one statement, two, whatever, usually not everything resonates because this is a general reading, but if anything resonates, that means that message was meant for you. I also suggest that you check not only your sun sign but also your ascendant and your moon. That's going to give you better kind of like triptych to kind of pull all of things together. So this month, because as probably you can hear, I have horrifying allergies, so it's really hard for me to talk. I'm going to kind of like be more focused, maybe really quick 10 minutes within what YouTube recommends. And I'm going to start with astrology because you really liked it last month, and I'm also going to combine with tarot. So let's do that. Alright, so the overview, astrological overview. The first significant astrologic event of July 2020 is a lunar eclipse, just like the previous month. Also, like the previous month, the eclipse happens on the 5th, but this time the sun-moon opposition is on the Cancer-Capricorn axis, which basically foretells certain situations, and they usually relate to career, or to home, or family. And these situations are either going to reach resolution or some kind of climax. So that keeps it in mind, right? It's kind of like that huggy feeling, but it's also there is like an ambition connecting to it. So many of us might deal with events or situations that put our emotional maturity to the test. And this is like being like a little baby, kind of like, I want this, I want this. So, but if you catch yourself doing that, you go, oh, that's what it is. I'm not completely lost it, right? I didn't completely lose it, right? So many of us may deal kind of like with the situation that we will be tested if we have ability to persevere on our chosen path by honoring our families, but really also at the same time remaining independent from them. So in some cases, this energy of this lunar eclipse can spur an epiphany kind of related to how our families have shaped and influenced choices we have made in our lives, right? Lannister always pays his debts. It's kind of like something that family kind of like ingrained inside of us. So some of us might even decide to make significant changes when it comes to our career or the direction in which our lives were going. And we might actually also reach conclusion that we have been going by the desires of our parents instead of following our own star, following our own dreams. So maybe you want to look and transport yourself back 2 years, because there was like some kind of situation that started like 2 years ago, and now it's ending. It's making room for new directions to go in. So this sun-moon opposition happens around the lunar nodes, and they are situated on Gemini-Sagittarius axis, which suggests the need to free ourselves from that obsolete kind of thing. It's sort of like beliefs or dogmas and something we keep repeating, but it's kind of like you're wondering, like, how do I really connect with this, right? And especially if you have South Node in Sagittarius, which is kind of like being that master in the past life and now needing to communicate it in Gemini, right? So in order to embrace these new ideas, which is that North Node in Gemini, maybe it is a time to ask ourselves what really family means to us. what really happy family is. Hello? Anybody read Anna Karenina? And also whether we can regard society as a whole as a larger family, as part of which we all should contribute. So this guy is really age of Aquarius coming on. Everything that you're seeing outside, it's kind of need for equality. Sometimes the pendulum swings one way too much, but the whole point is understanding that we all want the same. You and the next person, you all want the same. You want happiness, you want love, you want peace. Yeah, maybe one person can have better shoes than the other one, but how important that really is, right? Because the circumstances that we are going to see on a social level can be a sort of a buildup of frustration, and that's why we see this manifestation of unrest, right? So until July 22nd, 2020, lots of twos, 222020, so 4 of them. The Sun transits Cancer. So that's basically also, there's Mercury until July 12th. So this is kind of like we need to deal with that retrograde as well. So throughout the month, the Sun and Mercury are in opposition to these other retrograde planets from Capricorn. So like, I mean, Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn. So as a result, we will notice that it's not quite easy to find a balance between a private and professional lives. Many of us are working from home, and this could be pandemic kind of like imposed, or it could be that you're self-employed and you really have to figure out how to motivate yourself when you're sort of like not, especially if you're extrovert, where you kind of like need other people, how to draw that energy when you're like kind of like withdrawn or secluded, right? So it might be tensions with family members or higher ups, so kind of like no time to kind of like make these big waves, but discussions have a great chance of proving to be really productive, provided that we are patient enough. Cancer is one patient sign. So happy birthday, Cancers. If I'm forgetting to say that, it is your time, and it is really amazing how one sign can encompass both this like kind of come to my heart, come, and shrewdness about focusing and chasing your own goals. So let's go back also to that retrograde planets in Capricorn, that are Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn, but Mars is still in Aries, and this is its own domicile. So just think about, you came home. You're not anymore at Aunt's house. You no longer have to dress for breakfast. You no longer kind of like have to comb your hair and everything. You can kick and do whatever you want, right? So as of the end of the previous month, 27th, and it has the opposite effect, right? So as a result, we are really confident in our own devices, and sometimes this is too much. You see people who you think like, oh, you really shouldn't be confident, but it's kind of like ultimately a good thing, because we all are kind of like walking that perch, and we all are going to face our own demons. So there is no need for us to correct anybody, right? And it's going to be really strong need for novelty and pioneering, and we might run into obsolete system. So I don't know, maybe your grandparents will want you to kind of like check their, what was this, like 8-track or something, kind of like hilarious. So kind of like, again, advice is just be patient, guys, in this situation. So keep in mind that, you know, during the near future, we can progress without keeping in mind the past, right? So for some of us, this might be a right time to resume some older projects that we have been postponing for whatever reason. So Mars is the one that gives us the desire to see this project through, and also gives us that dose of boldness which we have been missing in the past. So socially, however, there might be a buildup of frustrations and tensions that might trigger a conflict. It would be like, blah, like I always wanted to tell you, but blah, it's all out there, right? And so it can trigger that conflict, and it can blow up as of August 2020. That's when Mars will square with the planet situated in Capricorn, right? During this term, it's more important than ever to carefully weigh Our every decision, gesture, and word, whatever you're talking about love life, sex life, professional projects, your social life, whatever, right? We should always keep in mind the long-term consequences and even remember the mistakes of the past so we don't make them again. Yeah, we usually remember that later. So during this term, saving graces can be professionalism, a responsible attitude, all kind of like we have to thank to Cancer for teaching us all of that, and also the ability to come up with long-term strategies. We also shouldn't feel obligated to solve all issues at once or the same moment, the same day. So since Mars spends a lot of time in its domicile sign, so it's usually spending 6 weeks, and now it's spending whopping 6 months, right? It's going to be also in retrograde motion in September, in the fall, right? So everything we now initiate is likely to go through an ample process of remaking and redefining a couple of months from now, because that's what happens in retrograde. You're looking, like, did I switch the light off? Did it, like, you're checking yourself a little bit, right? So do not rush it, right? Then we also have conjunction of Mars and Chiron, July 12th to 16th, which points out the fact that in some of our lives, some older issues and frustrations might come to light when we thought them long gone, right? We can make the most of the energy of this conjunction in order to become aware of the wounds that trigger an aggressive self-defense mechanism. Conjunction means they're really, really close, right? 2 degrees close. So almost like in the sky, they look like they're hugging, kind of a thing, right? So this is also kind of like finding a way toward healing. And by doing that, again, as I said, we are all connected. You have to keep others in mind too, right? So don't kind of like think, oh, I got hurt, I'm going to make you suffer as well. That's not going to work unless you want to kind of bring some really negative karma points on you, right? So Mars also, because now we have Mars in Aries and Venus in Gemini, so very flirty, very aggressive, right? So socially, it's going to be kind of like bursting. It's going to be open and it's going to be daring, and maybe getting a chance to build new connections. I guess stay safe as I'm saying this, but this simply, many of us will forget that kind of like word of caution, right? So the effects of the Mars-Venus combo also mean good news for those who are involved in older or even newer relationships, because they can easily kind of like evade the day-to-day rut and come up with really smart comeback that create a desire for flirting and goofing around, right? It's like usually when we really need to say something, clever, like we get stuck and then we say something boring and go, I had this opportunity. Why did I kind of like lose it, right? Also keeping in mind that at the same time, possessive or codependent people, or some of those people who decide, nope, I'm not going to change. Oh, sweet negative me, I'm going to be the switch, what it is. They're going to feel completely out of base. They're going to feel really weirded out. It's going to be really super easy to spot them, almost as if all the lights are shining on them, and not in a good way, right? Because the energy of this term favors relationships in which partners know how to allow each other space and freedom of thought, right? So that's much so far, guys, and let's go in the individual signs and see how, in addition, that spiritually. Hi Pisces, I stopped recording because I start getting indication that maybe the sound is not going to be on. I just realized the entire Aquarius is silent. I'll have to dub it, but with you it was in the beginning, luckily. So the cards are shuffled, and I don't know, you don't need to see me shuffling. So this is the bottom of the deck. This is the first thing I started to see, and I was just starting to tell. And Safi's here, she's here too. Kind of like wish you good luck. But this is like the card of a seasoned warrior who now is reaping the fruits of, okay, I can finally relax. Maybe you have set some kind of goals for yourself. Maybe you have been going through some kind of hardship. Maybe you have been going through the part where you had to choose something, and it is like one of those situations, oh no, I hate doing that kind of a thing, right? So let's see which one is the first majors for you. It's the Lovers, of course, but look, you also have the Strength and you have the Magician. You are one of those signs that is getting master messages. Look at all of these majors being stuck here together, and that means something. So you have the Hermit, you have Judgment, you have the Moon, which is your card, you have the Magician, you have Strength, and you have Lovers. It sounds to me, guys, that you have been going through some period which could be a little bit of introspection, could be a little bit of being withdrawn, could be a little bit of leaving me kind of alone, but you are ready now to move and be mover and shaker. You're ready right now to have a completely different kind of like approach, or even let's call it composition, kind of like how you're going to kind of like approach things going forward, right? So this card being on the bottom of the deck is just saying, just don't forget that from time to time you also need to kind of like stop and kind of like take a breather, because it looks like you have been going through and maybe you're finishing something really major. If you guys haven't gotten a karma reading with me, just do that, because this is a karma card and it really tells you what is it that you're currently working on and why, right? And then there's another major arcana. This is 7. There are only 22 of them, and look at how many more cards I have, and you already have the third of them out. And this is about a vision. This is about hope. This is like about something coming to the surface that you truly, truly enjoy. It's this messy Mercury retrograde that is messing everything up. So here was a pause to continue. And this is crossed with this Two of Wands, which is a lovely card about where do I go? Like, it's excitement. It's a new stage. You are here really thinking, look at their swords. Should I listen to, like, I mean, what I'm being told, or should I just go with my heart, right? And for you, this is usually a clear answer, but this is Wands after all. This is kind of like, it doesn't matter. Just keep on moving. Maybe it's going to be something new. Maybe something going to be old, but you have to keep going and you have to keep moving. And it's kind of like clear message that you're getting it over here. Then you have Three of Wands. So look at this, 2 and 3 and 4. This means, like, I mean, you're going to be a busy bee. You are putting certain things in action. So this is like from contemplation to kind of like, all right, now I figured it out, now I'm going. You are no longer some kind of like pushover. You're no longer sitting in the dark, meditating, doing yoga and just thinking things. Now you're actually putting things in practice. And yet there's another ones, like you probably have had a plan for quite a while, and now you're feeling really energized because finally everything is happening, and like you are having this star. The star is here and the star is here, which is like freaking amazing. And you also have the moon and the star, and if you get the sun, then you have everything, kind of like what the dreams are made of, kind of a thing. You also have Temperance. It's lots of fire. Like, it's kind of weird because water and fire creates, it's either killing each other or creates steam. But this is one of those cards that's saying, no, you're going to create the steam. It's possible. So you guys might be in the limelight. You might become very popular. You'll be, like, I mean, highly seek commodity. People will really want to be with you and around you, and it's going to be really, really important. And then you have the Tower, and welcome to the Crown. Majority of us got the Tower, which means when you're moving this quickly, and this is what happens when you get majority of Wands or Swords, Tower is basically making these huge quick shifts and saying left, right, left, right, because you just imagine that you're in a sled and that you really kind of like might go in the wrong way, and that's going to be dangerous if you don't make this sharp turn. And making sharp turn means you're falling off and something, but at least it was not a disaster. So this can be turbulence and could be things that might be happening. This is also that Mercury retrograde, which is messing me up, and I should have known better. Yes, I should have been recording, and I was recording until now, but of course I didn't record something, and that's what Mercury retrograde does. So prevent this from happening to you, right? So this is basically your house, and this is the decision between. So now we have a 2 over here, we have a 2 over here, and we have a 2 over here. So do not allow yourself to be pulled back into that indecision. This is again very similar to this decision between your head and between your heart. This is going to be like that all month long. There is like something that you really, really wanted, something that had to turn the new leaf, something that you had to learn, especially if this applies to relationship. But right now you're this magician. You are freaking made out of gold. You can make things happen. You're like basically somebody that everybody is going to seek to be in the company to kind of like create this activity. And then you have this Knight of Chalices, and this is in your ambience, this is in your environment. Somebody is waltzing in right into your life. Somebody is romancing. Maybe you had somebody already, and maybe that somebody kind of like showed promise, but it was lots of things happening. It was somebody who wanted to do, maybe it was a period of dating, but this is like now going into romance, in the roses, in poetry, in kind of like compatibility of the really highest ground. And maybe this is why you needed to have this tower to say, look, you know, so and so is great, nothing wrong about this person, but what about this one? Take the door number 2 kind of a thing, right? So hopes and fears is that this person is turning into the one, into that soulmate, and you have the Lover's card. You want a commitment. You want something real. So maybe you kind of like set, and that's what we see it here. You see this kind of like stars. Maybe you kind of like, you know what they say, it's written in the stars, but you wrote it in the stars. You kind of envision this new process in where you really want to go. Look at this enchantment. Kitty kind of like wants to go there. This is so much not something better, right? Because here it was just a dark night, and now everything shows up, right? So yeah, sometimes we need to fall because we were not following our North Star. But your hope is that somebody is going to be shoe that fits. No more and no less. You are non-compromising, and you are that way at work, you are that way in your private life. So kind of good for you. What can I tell you? But when it rains, it pours, my dear Pisces. You are going to have also this person that you had, or somebody who is eyeing you, also kind of like ramping up and saying, you think this, but I can show you this. So you'll have choices. You'll have choices among 2 or maybe even more people. But I really think this is the one person that graduates over here, and this person graduates over here. And that's why you have this indecision. That's why it's between, maybe one person looks great on a paper, you're doing things with one person, maybe another person is, let's say, not such kind of like doer, shaker, entrepreneur, not financially savvy, but it's like so soft. You feel so comfortable. You feel like you can go in that cocoon forever. The decision is going to be tough, and you're not going to be making this decision. You will be sitting on both chairs, I have to tell you, and maybe this is what it is. Like you're going, I don't like it, I just want one. And it's just kind of like when it rains, it pours. You ask for one, and you're getting 2, just in case that something doesn't really work out. So Pisces, it sucks to be you. Haha. So end of sarcasm this month. So really enjoy this trip. It's going to be amazing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So half of Major Arcana is here, and looky how many more cards I have. So you know what, guys? It's okay. This is something that you have written in the stars. This is something you have written in your chart. This is something that you wanted. Don't complain about it, because you're going to chase it away. Let things work out on their own. And this is all about your personal growth, finding truly who you are and what you really need. Who is better for you will prevail. Both of the choices are good. You cannot go wrong. But who is a better fit, that's something that is going to appear. So patience is going to be really important. That's why you have temperance. And check out one more time the astrology in the beginning of this, and let's go with this. So guys, I love you. If you want a reading with me, contact me via cattarot.ca website. Also, kind of join the social media so you can get your daily dose of tarot, and hopefully I'll see you in live. Until the next time, wish you all the best, and I love you. Bye.